Okay, and we're back with Marty Oakley. Once in a blue moon, somebody may be able to make this system back off, but it's very hard and obviously would take a great deal of money, and the individuals involved would have to be able to wield clout and power. Of course, those aren't the ones usually the system's going to pick on. They're going to pick on the ones who are easily controllable, and I do suggest that they do have profiles on people, and they know how far they can go. They know how deep their pockets are. They know their resolve. It's very simple. It's just really like shooting fish in a barrel. Sad. It's a machine. It's a machine of theft, larceny, and ultimately, quite often, obviously, of death. It's a murder machine. And it's murder one, folks. And then some. And I don't know. I don't know where people go for help, but words to the wise, don't tell anybody how much you have unless you're in debt, and then have fun with it. And if you have anyone you can legitimately transfer your assets to and feel confident that they won't fritter them away, maybe there's a way to do it, Marty, where let's say you have a son or a daughter or both, and you want to transfer your assets to them. You could probably have them sign a personal contract that as long as you're alive, they agree not to sell or dispose of it, something like that. There must be some ways to protect.
Well, I would think so. Yeah. The thing that you're hitting on that's most important is while you're alive,
right?
And while you still are a recognized living, breathing human being,
right?
To do this during this time, come up with something. And you know, the other thing in this is the attorneys. People are constantly told, oh, you need an attorney. You need to get an attorney. And these attorneys, and this again, I'm looking at these cases and seeing where these attorneys were paid tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Went into the courtroom and sat there silent and did not defend their client.
They rolled right over. They did nothing. I've seen it. I've seen it too.
What happens is these attorneys on the predatory guardian side what they start doing is they file motions into the estate, and everything is to benefit the ward. We stole $10,000 of your money today, but it was to benefit the ward. And every time they file one of these motions, it's worth on average about $7,500, and it's called payrolling. And they'll do this over and over and tap the estate time and time again.
Right. And
it's to benefit the ward. That's the validation for it. We don't know what it did or why they did it, right, but it's to benefit the ward. We have cases where, in one particular case out in Washington State, the woman has been dead for 10 years. They're still bleeding the estate off. It was a multi-million-dollar estate. They keep filing motions into this case that's been left open, and every time they tap it for fees, it's to benefit the ward who's been dead 10 years.
Wow.
And this goes on continually. There's also the transfer of assets from one major bank to another. And in the case of Dorothy Griega out in Washington State, she had left in a charitable trust, I think like $1.3 million or something. That money was moved out of one major bank over to another major bank under a bogus charitable trust and a phony EIN number. This was reported to the IRS. They did nothing.
Well, I'm not surprised there. The IRS is the enemy, the ultimate enemy.
Kidding.
Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, if you think hiring an attorney is going to benefit you, think again.
Now you might as well burn your money, just throw it away.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Exactly. But these people are told constantly, you have to get an attorney. Well, even if they can find one, which is very difficult to do, like I say, I can show you instance after instance where they sat there and did not defend their client. Or right before they were to go into court, they said, we can't defend you. You know, I can't work for you anymore. You're going to have to find a new attorney. And this would be when they're standing outside the courtroom doors.
There aren't enough attorney jokes to go around. There never could be. I'm sorry. And for those of you listening who are attorneys, there are some good ones, but you know better than anyone the system is rigged and corrupted, almost beyond measure. It's that bad.
Well, it's a closed union shop.
Yes, it is.
We have judges now, the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, Florida, several other states, who issued rulings that came out January of this year. Rulings now that say that you can't act as a pro se. You can to a limited extent, but no one can help you research or fill out forms or compile your case. Basically, unless you belong to the Bar Association and belong to that good old boys club, you can't even appear in that court. And I've got a problem with that. I think the biggest problem is these pro ses, what I've seen from pro ses, their work is far more educated, more complete. And
I believe it. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they cover all the bases. They know what the law is. And I find most attorneys have no idea what the law is. They can recite code and statute. They have no idea what law is. And they really don't care.
They really don't care. There you go. They really don't.
Yeah, they don't care. But like I say, this is just probably one of the most insidious things I have ever come across. And as I say, it's happening in every state. It can happen to you. Don't let anybody sit there and think, well, it'll never happen to me. It can happen to you. And a lot of times what they do, if the estate isn't all that sizable, they'll go ahead and bleed it out, leave the person penniless in this nursing home, and now they tap Medicare and Medicaid.
Sure. I was going to ask you about that. They
amounts to $5.3 billion a year in Medicare Medicaid charges for these people that have been kidnapped from their own homes and imprisoned in these nursing homes, where the fee for the nursing home might be $6,000 a week, but they're charging Medicare Medicaid $12,000. I have files here where doctors came in, $750 for 15 minutes. And when they were checked their logs, they couldn't possibly have been there to see that patient.
Are there any honest people left in this country, Marty?
What?
Are there any honest people left in this country?
Well, I'd like to think I am.
Well, you are. I'm talking, let me restrict it to the people working in the legal system and this guardianship business.
I'm going to tell you quite honestly, Jeff, I think you're taking your life in your hands, literally, to step in any courtroom in this country.
I'm with you. I no hesitation whatsoever. Stay the hell away from the legal system. If it's the last thing you do, stay away. Don't hire an attorney. Don't sue anybody. And if you get sued, try and settle. Do anything you can. It's not worth it. The average civil litigation, I think, costs it's $50,000 easy to defend, or even to prosecute. Doesn't matter. And then when you finally win, the other party can declare insolvency, bankruptcy, just say, forget you, I'm not going to pay. And then you got to try and collect. Look, just stay out of the system. That's all I can tell you. It's not worth it. There are people who spend a lot of time on the internet trying to slander and abuse and libel others for self-aggrandizement, for self-publication, for other reasons. And they would like nothing more, whether they're in Europe or South Africa or doesn't matter what country they're in. They do the same thing all over the world. They want a lawsuit. Nobody wins in a lawsuit. Nobody. No. Not unless you've got the money of hundreds of millions on your side and the attorney's already on staff. Then you'll steamroll whoever's against you. But believe me, this is an issue in the media, in journalism. It doesn't matter where. Stay away from the legal system. Doesn't work. It's gone.
The other side of this too, Jeff, is that these families that have had this happen to them, where a family member has been sucked into one of these guardianships and disappeared, is that the predatory guardian and the attorneys on that side, like I say, will start making baseless charges against them. They're caught up in defending themselves from something that never happened.
Oh, yeah.
And the other side of it is they keep going, and they file motion after motion that you have to respond to.
Yep.
And, of course, you have to pay every time.
Every response could be several $1,000s easy.
Easy. And a lot of times these families have been bankrupted. They've been wiped out financially. They are absolutely scarred emotionally from what has happened. And all the while this is going on, here's their family member or their partner or whoever it was being held hostage. And they have no idea what's happening to them. And it's just absolutely one of the most terrible things I have ever seen. And I am so angry. All these politicians, standing up and, making America right and the American dream and everything. It's a nightmare.
It's all lies, all of it. Every bit of it's lies. None of it's real. Marty, bless you for doing what you do. Keep sending me articles. I've got a bunch of them up there. No, we don't take articles down at rense.com. Everything's up there. You just have to know the exact name of the title of the article, and you can do a search, and you'll find it. I think I've posted, there must be over 500,000 articles up there. I don't know how many. It was, years ago, it was 300,000. They're all up there somewhere. But the bottom line is, just stay in touch with Marty Oakley's output, and you'll have it locked up. So if I can be of any more help, just let me know. I'm glad you came back a second time. I look forward to a third time. So just let me know, Marty.
Well, thank you.
All right. Take care.
Good night.
Good night. Marty Oakley with a story that is all too true and is in existence in all 50 states and is literally preying on the very lives of countless people in this country. Just unbelievable. Back tomorrow night. See you then.